Good morning, everybody out there in YouTube land. This is Lonnie coming at you from the Justice Appalachian Homestead in East Kentucky. I like to try to shoot a lot of these videos earlier in the morning. We got that fog cover from the mountains, makes it nice and cool and comfortable. While I'm out here catching up on world events, you know, the one thing that I thought that I hated the most about living in the mountains was the fact that every mountain that we lived nearby would block my cell phone reception completely. And now it seems as though, now that I'm able to catch up on world events, it seems like it is nothing but bad news all the time. I know, being some sort of a homesteading chicken channel, I keep going on about this Maui thing. It's because I believe there's something nefarious going on there. I've read the comments on my videos. I look at over hours of footage. There's something going on there, man, and I just feel like I have to share whatever I find, you know, and even though I'm reaching a much smaller audience than a lot of these people, you know, I realize that there are more people here that share the same views and opinions as I do, and you can't deny that there's some sort of effort to control information. I was looking for something. I just like to listen to these islanders share their experience, because I find that, I mean, why would they lie, right? I mean, they're living it on a day-to-day basis, and it just seems to be far different than how it's being reported on. But you know, you hear about climate change and how these storms are getting stronger, and it's always when I'm looking at one thing, I'll spot something somewhere else and I'll think, I'm gonna put a pin in that, but I'm gonna continue looking into what I'm already looking into, whatever that may be. I came across some footage of a guy who was describing something very interesting that reflected something that I came across that seemed almost unrelated, you know, but then I realized that it wasn't. So I want to share this video. As far as I know, this clip is in its entirety. It's not a snippet, it's not an excerpt, but it's the entire account of what he experienced. Listen to what he's describing.
It was a firestorm.
I know, but
There was tornadoes of ash the size of charcoal from a barbecue, like being thrown by baseball players. I'm ducking behind walls. I had to kick in the door at Bubba Gump's to get out of it because I was getting pounded.
yeah.
And then Bubba Gump started on fire, and I'm running down Front Street, and the wall, there's like 80 people, and the ocean was on fire. Firefighter told me because the first layer of ash causes the seal, and then the next layer of ash was all the embers. So the tide line was on fire, and I had to jump through the water
I don't know what I'm
and come up to the fire, and 80 people, they were on the wall, everybody started jumping in. Coast Guard was out there grabbing people, and I was like, no, I'm good. I was born in the water. I'm a cod. And they're grabbing people, and I swam. I knew my phone was only good for like 15 seconds being submerged, then swam for like a half mile north. It was like nothing you've ever seen. This was bad, that the people in their cars that were dead and from asphyxiation, and the fire blew out the car, and you just saw the numbers of the dead are so wrong.
Tornado of fire, embers whipping through the air. The tide line is on fire. I've come across multiple news articles on Google where fire departments, fire marshals throughout California was describing this new phenomena and how there's some people who linked it to geoengineering. Well, without actually going into it and having this next clip repeat it to you, just know that I had a hard time finding this article despite this channel Hustle Bitch showing a few clips, and he reads it, and I share the link to it in the description below. Going to the website itself is not going to turn up any results. Even if you type the name of it in verbatim, it'll tell you 0 search results. So I actually found another article that referenced it that actually shared the direct link, which led me back to that website that showed it right there. So that's interesting.
Let's put on our tinfoil hats for a moment and check out this interesting press release from 2018 titled "Aluminum Dust from Geoengineering Fueling Super Wildfires," according to author. I know, now stick with me as we read this together. While researching for his new novel, author Dennis Mills discovered an alarming link between chemtrails and the super wildfires. The author discovered that unprecedented levels of aluminum and barium nanodust, primary components in chemtrails, both of which are incendiary, are fueling the ferocity of the super wildfires. A retired USAF Brigadier General, General Charles Jones, you know what, let's hit the brakes. Let's stop for a second. Let's check out exactly how credible a USAF Brigadier General is. According to Wikipedia, a Brigadier General ranks above a colonel and below a Major General. Okay, let's continue. A retired U.S. Air Force Brigadier General, General Charles Jones, has been quoted from a public source as stating, "These white aircraft spray trails are the result of scientifically verifiable spraying of aluminum particles and other toxic heavy metals, polymers, and chemicals. Millions of tons of aluminum and barium are being sprayed almost daily across the U.S., stated Mills, a former naval officer and UCLA graduate. Pause once again. We have one legit U.S. Air Force general and one naval officer and UCLA graduate, both sharing facts on this. At this point, we can safely remove our tinfoil hats and check out the rest of this. Just sprinkle aluminum or barium dust on a fire and see what happens. It's nearly explosive. When wildfires break out, the aluminum barium dust results in levels of fire intensity so great as to cause firefighters to coin a new term, Firenados, he said. The entire US, in addition to various other NATO countries, are being sprayed. The government has for years denied the existence of chemtrail spraying. It now calls the program by various names, all under geoengineering. According to CAL FIRE Operation Chief Steve Crawford, the fires are burning differently and more aggressively. It has been reported the fires move faster than anyone has ever seen, and barriers that in years past contained them, such as rivers, no longer do. In California's Mount Shasta region, Francis Mangle, a USDA biologist, tested and found elevated levels of aluminum in water and soil samples of 4,610 parts per million, which is 25,000 times the safe guidelines of the World Health Organization.
So the whole idea of geoengineering, or these chemtrails that are putting barium and aluminum into the upper atmosphere, has everything to do with, their claim of temperatures rising due to fossil fuels. So basically what they're doing, and if you look into the subject, even those that are pushing the narrative about how real climate changes, I swear to God, it's real. They are not lying. They're talking about putting this reflective surface up in the air, this gas, these particles in the upper atmosphere to direct some of the sunlight back out into space. But you see, when I left the city and I moved to the country, I wanted to find a nice place to settle down and go off grid. And I know a lot of you guys who may already have those big, elaborate, expensive solar setups. What this is going to do is it's going to create a haze. You'll find several videos on the subject talking about creating a haze. So it's like saying goodbye to clear blue skies, okay? That sounds to me like it's going to render solar panels completely useless. Isn't that how they function? They have to have, there's peak hours during the day when they have to have direct sunlight in order to charge your energy bank. I got to look into something a little something alternate. I mean, I was going to go with solar panels, but now I'm not. If that's going to be the future of what they're going to be doing with the climate, man, what I believe they're doing over there is a test run. I guess in their mind, on some level, they feel like, you know, well, they're on an island out in the middle of the ocean. It should be easier to contain information. But when you think about how Elon Musk just went over and dropped off these Tesla generators, so now they have power, now they have internet, and it's high speed. So these guys are going to be putting more video up to, you know, get out there and, you know, if you guys have a YouTube channel, start sharing this stuff, you know. I mean, even if you have a small crowd, one person sees it and they share it, you know what I mean? Sooner or later, there's going to be enough come out to where even the mainstream can't deny it or choose not to look at it, and they're going to have to report on it sooner or later. But this is the world we live in now, people. Things are changing. But before I wrap up this video, let's see what Uncle Joe has to say.
I don't think anybody can deny the impact of the climate crisis anymore. Just look around. Extreme heat, significant wildfires have caused significant damage like we've never seen before, not only throughout the Hawaiian Islands in the United States, but in Canada and other parts of the world. We've never seen this much fire.
Well, I have to say that I, for once, agree with that statement. I mean, personally, I don't think any of us have ever seen super wildfires. Tornadoes of fire, whipping embers, spreading a mile a minute, setting water on fire. Every video you see on the subject, they're telling you that they're the ones changing it. It's only when there are unintended consequences, it would seem, that they point the finger at us. And those of us with a critical enough mind to be able to piece it together that, hey man, it's you that's changing it. It's not my vehicle. It's not my gas engine, you know, that they label you a conspiracy theorist. And what does that mean? It means that you have the facts 6 months before the truth comes out. So I got to run. My chickens are looking for me. So until the next video, we'll holler at you later.